everyone. I hope everyone is doing well by God's grace. We thank God for today, and I have a nice recipe for you. Right. So I've had a lot of complaints with my Zongo stews and about oil. So today I want to share with you how we can make your Zongo beef stew without oil. Okay, amazing stuff. So let's get into it. So we are making Zongo beef stew, okay? So here we have our beef, and this beef has like all the fats on it, okay? So I come in with my H14, or you can use B10 if you wish, and then I added my salt, right? So for this recipe, this is how you need to go about it, okay? This is the only way you can go about it. So I'm showing you the beef. It's got all the fat, and that's what we're going to use to fry the stew, okay? So here I'm making sure that the marinade coats each and every piece of the meat. Is well coated with the marinade, okay? And then the next thing is I'll pop it in my oven, okay? You can use your air fryer as well. It's another way, okay? So either your air fryer or your oven for you to air fry or to bake. Okay, so I baked it for like 20 minutes here. I brought it out, and then I'm going to turn it all over. Okay, I will turn the beef over so that the cooked parts will go down and the uncooked parts will come up. So just turn it over. Okay, but before I send it back into the oven, I'm going to drain all the juices that came out of the meat. Okay, so the juices and the oil. Okay, so the oil from the beef, right? So this is how it looks like. Okay, nice, beautiful, glossy stock. Okay, so here's my beef, and it's all ready. Okay, so the rest of my ingredients, I have some onions, ginger, garlic, and some chilies. I'll blend it all, and this is how it looks like. So I blended the ginger, garlic, chili together, and the onions, and I have my tomatoes. Okay, so we're going to go through our spices, right? So I'm going to list it all for you so that you know what and how much I'm adding into the bowl. Okay, but then if you have my jollof spices, you can use it. It's also nice for the stew, but we're doing the Zongo thing, right? The Zongo stew, it has this peculiar taste and smell, and you need to add these ingredients or add these spices to get that peculiar taste and smell, okay, or aroma, if I can say it that way. So all these things I'm listing it for you. I'm not mentioning it. I'm just talking over it. But then, yeah. But don't forget your way about your Calabash nutmeg, okay? It makes a whole lot of difference to your stew. Okay, so then I'm adding nutmeg, and I also added cardamom, right? So you may not have cardamom, but then you can add your nutmeg. Ignore cardamom. Cardamom is a personal preference, okay? So here I'm going to grind it into a fine powder, and then we'll add some to our stew. This is a lot of spices, mind you. So when you make this particular batch, you can use this like 3 times, okay? So I didn't use all of it in this stew, even though my stew was a lot, okay? Otherwise, it will overpower your stew. Your stew will be like, you have no clue. It will be overpowered. More fun said the stew will be overpowered by the spices. So in my stock, which has some of the, the juices and the oil, I add in my onions and then my ginger, garlic, and pepper that I've blended. Okay, so that is the only twist to this whole recipe, and I'm adding in my tomato puree. The only twist. You start with the stock instead of starting with oil. So there's no oil in this. All the oil is going to come from the beef. So if your beef hasn't got oil in it, it's fatless. You cannot achieve this recipe. Okay, so I've added my tomatoes and everything else, and we're going to go back. We're going to revert to the way I make my Zongo stews. You let it boil, simmer down, then you add some water, then you let it boil, simmer, and you add water. So that's what I'm doing now. You see, I just added the water. I'm going to let it boil. So here I'm showing you the oil. You see, the oil is surfacing little by little, but it's very little oil, so you shouldn't have any problems with it. Okay, but then at the end, if you think that there's not enough oil, you can add your own oil to it. But then this is a way of making it oilless. Yeah. I've added another water, so you keep on like 2 or 3 times until it reduces. So it's boiling, and the next stage you see is reduce completely. And I'm adding in my stew. Hey, I'm adding in my spices. So just a little bit. You see that I didn't use all of it, just a little bit, okay? Give it a good stir, okay? So the only bit you need to know about this recipe is just the first bit. Once the stew starts to boil, you just revert to the way I make my zongo stews, and just, keep cooking it, what I say, so that you are not confused, Concentrate on the first bit, how I make it, the first half, until I add the tomatoes. So here, I'm adding in my beef. The beef tastes amazing. It's like you've boiled and fried. It's so good and healthy in this way, okay? And I've added all of it. I'm giving it a stir. I'll let it simmer for a few moments like that. And then this is where I add my salt, because I tasted it and it had a little salt, because there was salt in the stock. We added salt to the spices and we added it to the beef. You remember? Yeah. So there's already salt. So you can't add salt until the end. After you added your meat and everything, you stirred it and it's not enough salt, then you add it. And that is it. That is your stew ready for you. Amazing. Very delicious. It doesn't take anything away from it. Just it makes me even consider oil. Why do I add oil to my stew? There's no need, but there is a need sometimes. You give it nice color and flavor, I think. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Give it a try. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.